Welcome back to the Talk Shop Podcast, and my next interview that you are about to hear is from the amazing Jim Fronk. Jim has worked in commercials, he's working on video games, and he even builds websites for voiceover. He was even generous enough to offer all my listeners a promo code RXD20 that you can use at checkout to apply a 20% discount. You can find the links to Jim's website in the description below. I had a lot of fun talking with Jim. We talked about everything from authenticity in voiceover and how important it is, especially with AI coming into the picture, why it's a good idea to socialize with the voiceover community. So if you can go to an event like a barbecue or a get-together, go to it. Check out the interview right now. Welcome back to the Talk Shop Podcast, and today I got my friend and fellow voice actor, Jim Fronk. How's it going?
Hey, what's happening, man? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. We finally hooked up.
It's been a busy mix of schedules, huh?
Oh my God! Between schedules and between conferences and everything, Uncle Roy's barbecue. And, it's been some fun going on, but I'm glad to be sitting back and just chilling right now. So this is good. If you don't mind, I'm gonna actually kick back a little bit and maybe open up a cold one.
There we go. Speaking of cold ones and barbecue, because it's like 90 degrees here in the Bay Area now. How was Uncle Roy's barbecue? And for those who don't know, Uncle Roy happens to be one of the best audio engineers in the country.
Do we even say Emmy Award winning?
Emmy Award winning.
He's a wackadoo kind of a guy, and I love him dearly. But this is my first year going to Uncle Roy's. I was supposed to go last year, but I had got COVID just before. Not really complaining too much because I caught COVID in Switzerland doing the J. Michael retreat last year. So, if I got to get COVID, I'll take that, But went this year, and it was awesome to see so many people live, touch, feel, hug. Used to seeing people, little 2x3 squares. Exactly, and you know how you hear someone's voice and you get a picture of them in your mind, and then they're nothing like the picture in your mind when you actually meet them. That even happened with people that I've met here online. Like there was this one guy, Mikey G. I don't mind using his name. Why not? Mikey G. And I mean, he's from the LA area now, but he's originally from New York, and he talks like that. And, hey, I got coffee and hot dogs, and hey, forget about it. He's that typical little guy like that, and he reminds me so much of Danny DeVito. And I only see him on Zoom, and his camera's up here looking down. So I'm picturing this little Danny DeVito guy, I got this guy 6'2", 6'1", 6'2", walks up to me and goes, "Hey, what's up there, Jimmy?" I'm like, I know the voice, but 6'2". I'm like, geez, I mean, God.
I was like, damn.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, here I'm thinking, I'm going to get Danny DeVito, and then I get like Larry Bird, But that and another one, Jane Beverly. Love Jane. I do a lot of audio dramas with her. I really thought she'd be a tall woman. She just carried herself. Her presence seemed like she'd be a tall, elegant lady. No, she was about 4'11". I mean, she was a little short. But it was just great to see people, the stories, the band that was playing, just everybody jumped up and played an instrument. If they played, they sang. I got up, did a song. The food was great. I don't want to say class or tiers, but I'm going to, of voiceovers. There are certain people that are on certain tiers, more successful in their career than others, but everybody just blending together. It was one big VO melting pot with all kinds of great food. Great booze. The weather held off. It was supposed to rain, and it rained right up until, as a matter of fact, I think they were in the rain the night before, setting up an extra tent out front just in case. And by the time the barbecue started, the clouds parted, the sun came out, and it was a really good time.
That's good.
And of course, the after parties at the hotel were pretty fun too.
Always.
Not allowed to speak of that.
Speak of what? No.
Exactly. What hotel?
What hotel?
I commuted.
Exactly.
But yeah, I highly recommend if anybody out there has a chance to go to a conference, to go to Uncle Roy's or anything that is a social gathering. We are, because of COVID, especially, we become so sheltered. You know, I live half my life in a 5x8 room. I mean, thank God it's padded because, you
Uh-huh.
know, I'm bouncing off the walls in here having fun, which is great. But yeah, just to see people and I'm an extrovert, so I crave attention. I crave the spotlight. I crave human contact, and that's been lacking in my life. Kind of like somebody that hasn't had sunlight for 3 years. You know, so yeah, to go out there and to see people. I've been fortunate that I went to VO Atlanta this year and saw too many people. And then that was like 1,100 people there. Dallas was fun, about 400 people. But Uncle Roy's, nice little 150 or so, just hanging out. People that I'm groups with in Facebook groups, accountability people that I'm more friends with than, say, like regular just voiceover acquaintances, which I'm still friends with. But these guys I consider my inner circle.
Right.
Just to see those guys was phenomenal. It really was.
So speaking of which, it actually brings up a good point because I really started digging into voiceover when COVID started. So just like backtrack 2 years before COVID started, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give voiceover a serious shot. And then what at the time, I was very introverted at the time because I was always like, I'm gonna stay home, play video games. I don't want to have communication with people unless I have to go to work. COVID kicked in, then I really had no choice at that point. And then I think one of the things that is really important for actors to learn, that especially when they're new, is that human contact
Mm,
will help you in general, like that human experience, getting to know people, interacting with people. It
absolutely.
brings more to your reads than just I'm gonna stay in a booth here and hope for the best.
I mean, who are you talking to? I'm talking to that drunk at Uncle Roy's on Saturday. There's more people to talk to. There's, if you do animation or if you do video games, a bad impersonation of somebody that nobody else knows is a great character voice.
Yep.
You know, I could just think, oh, yeah, I put the barbecue on and I got the tent set up and just let the band play. You know, that's my impersonation of Uncle Roy. I mean, but
Hmm.
nobody knows him. You know, or it's not even good. But you know, that could be a character voice. So you get all these people out there. I try to tell people, my background and how I got into this is not a little bit different than a lot of people, but for me it was. I did radio for, oh God, 25 plus years. I've been a stand-up comedian, improv, but my radio background, a lot of that was morning show radio, and a lot of that was talk radio.
Right.
So I've interviewed, if I had to put a number on it, I've probably interviewed, I'd say maybe 1,000, maybe 5 people a week so 500 to 1,000 people. I don't know how many people, but it's way up there.
Hmm.
And there's nobody, and I'm going to say it again, nobody that is unapproachable in my book. And you have to view that.
Hmm.
Everybody is just like you. They might be a bit more successful. They might be a bit more well known,
Hmm.
but don't be afraid to say hi, especially in this community. I know it's such a cliche and it's said over and over again, such a loving community. But it really is. I mean, I
Hmm.
come from radio and that's cutthroat. I mean, I've known that I was going to take a job for 2 months. That okay, we're going to make you program director of this station. We're going to have you do the morning show as well. But it's not going to happen for 2 more months. And I need you to, you have to keep it quiet because it's career suicide if you speak up. But the person's job that I'm taking was a former co-host of mine from 2 years ago. So it's such a cutthroat business. I hate it. I
Right.
love voiceover because it's not cutthroat. So
Agreed.
back to the and I talk a lot, so you can probably just sit there and just tell me when cut is and just call it a day.
You're good.
Um, but I talk to people and I tell other people to talk to them too, because if they don't want to talk to you or if they can't be bothered to talk to you at the level you are in your career, then you don't want them in your circle. Don't bother with them. I don't know how old you are, Richie, but I'm 57.
Right.
Okay. I've got relatives. I have a brother that I haven't spoken to in 3 or 4 years because it's too much bandwidth.
Right.
I'm just at that point where I just people that I can't figure out or deal with in the first 5 minutes, I'm not dealing with.
Yeah.
So I tell people this all the time. I met J. Michael 2 months. J. Michael Collins, for anybody that doesn't know, he's a demo producer, voice of Amazon Sports now and Lexus, and he's up there. He's the pinnacle of VO.
Right.
I met him 2 months into my career. I had a question. It was a Clubhouse thing. I asked the question, and we talked off air for 5 or 6, 7, 8 emails back and forth, a couple of phone calls, and we became friends. And now I have him on speed dial to ask. He has his Ask JMC Anything hours on Gravy for the Brain 2 or 3 times per month. He asked me one day when I signed up for it, he goes, "Why'd you sign up for that? You could just, text me. And you have me 24/7. I'm like, well, you're right. I train with Dave Fennoy. Most people know who Dave Fennoy is.
Great actor.
Lee Oliver from The Walking Dead.
Mhm.
Lexus himself, the original voice of Hulu. Still to this day, I think 20 years, 25 years strong. Time Life Music presents.
Mhm.
But wait, there's more. Dave Fennoy. They're like, how'd you train?
He used to
What's
do
that?
radio. Dave Fennoy used to do radio here in the San Francisco Bay Area too.
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he did. But people ask me, how did you get hooked up with Dave Fennoy? Well, I went to his website and I contacted him. I said, hello, can I train with you? He said, well, yes, here's the link to pay me. Okay, well, great. I've trained with Kristen Paiva of Disney. She's a Disney Disney TV animation director, casting director. How'd you find her? Same way. I just asked. I said hello. So ask people, say hello, introduce yourself. If you go to conferences and you are an introvert and you're afraid to talk to somebody, find me. Okay, I am a big, imposing person. I always have some sort of hat on.
Mm-hmm.
May not be this one, might be a palm tree hat, might be a black. I always have a hat on and some sort of bright, colorful Hawaiian shirt. I think today's my lobster shirt. It's my ode to JMC.
Looks pretty good.
Because he's a lobster guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll introduce you to people. You just follow me around. And I'll be like, hey, Dave Fennoy, have you met Richie?
Yeah.
And then I'll just walk away. Yeah. But you have to do more than that, Richie. You have to say,
it's like, hi, I didn't know.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my advice to everybody is get out there, meet people, talk to people, say hello to people. Dave Fennoy and I have become great friends.
Mm-hmm.
Not just friends, not just VO friends. We become great outside of voiceover friends. And everybody's like that in this business. There's been one person that I came across, one person, and he knows who he is. And if you're listening, you know who you are.
Know who you are.
Yeah, he knows who he is. Who was a complete? Can I say? He was.
Oh yeah, go ahead. All
right. He was a complete to me. I had a stupid little question, but I didn't know. I just needed some clarification. Instead of clarifying, he went off on some soapbox, and I was like, "It's a good thing I'm not a thin-skinned newbie."
Mm-hmm.
It was just about 3-4 months ago. It wasn't that long ago, so I mean, I'm not a newbie per se. But yeah, I mean, if I was a thin-skinned newbie, I probably would have just said, "Well, I'm not going to ask a question to anybody ever again," because this guy was such a to me. So so I don't even talk to him anymore. I see him at conferences. He tries to say hello, and I'm just like, dude, I'm done.
It's like, nah, he's like, no, exactly.
You've got to do something really impressive to get me back in your fold. Not that I'm anybody special, but I just don't have the bandwidth. I say bandwidth now. Up until I understood what bandwidth was, I used to say my dumpster's too full. My head dumpster. As you get older, more and more shit piles up in your dumpster. And if there's no place to dump it, it just overflows. It's the same concept as bandwidth. So my dumpster's full, and until there's room to put you in my dumpster, I'm not going to even bother.
I agree. And like that's also very important because when we talk about community, like I've heard just about every voice actor from just starting up to professional just say the voiceover community is actually a great place to be at. And then and from people who are on camera and voiceover, they're like, yeah, the voiceover community is great. They're like, oh yeah, how about the on camera? It's like, it's cutthroat. Everyone hates each other. just stick with the voiceover community. And it's true. It's like I see everyone, I see all kinds of people that I've met, whether they be online through Discord or Facebook groups, like you said. They're like, hey, I got an audition. Things after you get to know them, of course. They're like, hey, I got an audition. You want to try it out? It's like, yeah, but aren't you gonna? She's like, yeah, sure, but here, why don't you try it out too? And I've done the same. It's nice to see a community that's just helping you up.
Here's the thing, and I'm going to stereotype and probably be sexist. I don't know, but if I am, turn off now and whatever. I'm giving you the disclaimer now. The on-camera stuff. I mean, you could have 25 blondes in the room,
Right.
and any one of those 25 blondes could probably do the job of what's being casted. We're looking for a 26-year-old, 105-pound, 36D cup blonde for this role. And if you fit the specs, and if you can at least act a little bit, you have an opportunity to get the job. You take those same 25 people and have them go for a voiceover job. It's 25 completely different, unique voices. So there's no competition. You and I could go for the same job. Okay. You and I could go for Amazon. It's everything you want it to be. And you might say that line like,
it's everything you wanted it to be.
Right. I mean, I may say Amazon. Oh, it's everything you want it to be. And you may say Amazon. It's everything you want it to be. You don't know what they want. I don't know what they want. Hell, half the time, they don't know what they want until they hear it. So stay authentic, stay true to you, and just do the gig. That's why the competition isn't as fierce. And that's just my opinion. Somebody's going to say, oh, he's so screwed up. What the hell does that fat guy know? I don't know much. I really don't. But it's just my opinion on it. I mean, I see actors. I've been in radio. I understand that. Radio disc jockeys are the same way. I used to hire disc jockeys as program director, and anybody that can sit there and say 106.3 Frank FM, #1 for classic hits. Now here's the doobies. Anybody can say that. I don't care if they say 106.3 Frank FM, #1 for classic hits. Now here's the doobies. I mean, it's different than it would be if I'm looking for a voiceover to say #1 for classic hits. Here's the doobies. Well, I'm more looking for someone to say, here's the doobies. So, I mean, it's not so much the voice with these other acting jobs. Here, it's all about the voice, and everybody has their own unique voice.
Agreed.
That's why there's no competition.
Yeah, and it's there's so much to add to the pot with this, especially when you talk about like directors, they don't always know what they want. And I had taken on a project earlier to direct and just have some fun with some friends, and I was like, why am I doing this? I was like, I'm doing this because I want to get an idea of what it's like to be a casting director, what they're gonna view, and then the moment people started putting in auditions for it, I'm like, that's what I'm looking for, that's what I'm not looking for. Versus before I got the audition, when I was like, what am I looking for? I got an idea, but I can't put it into words. And then they just put their stuff right. They put their cards right on the table, and then it tells you from there. And it's like you said, we don't know until like it's right there in the pudding.
You don't know until you get the job. And that's the reality right there. You don't know what they want unless you have some inside scoop. So one thing I've learned is to be authentic me. Just be who I am. So if I'm going to read something, I can't tell you how many times I hit delete. Oh, that's not the sound they want. I don't know what sound they want. If they don't want my sound, then the gig's not for me. And that's been the big change in my life. Voiceover the past 12 months has just be me.
Yeah.
I can be a completely pissed off me, or I can be a very subdued me, or I could be a very upset and what the hell's going on me. But it's still just me.
Right.
I'm not trying to find what they want. I'm taking the specs they're giving me. I'm making a choice. I'm making a decision. Hopefully it's a bold decision on my acting, and I'm committing to it. And I'm not second guessing anymore.
Yeah, that's also really important for newer voice actors. to hear, because I've heard workout groups where someone's like, I'm new. I was like, all right, cool. Give them a script, and then all of a sudden you hear they're going like, okay, let me do a retake, and we're at retake 50 at this point, and we're like, calm down. Like, probably 2 of those at least were already good versus the other 40.
We're going to take the first cut anyhow. Thanks. Bye.
Exactly. Exactly. And then logistically speaking, when they got to cast so many people, like Starfield had 700 voice actors cast for it for various roles. They don't got time to listen to 50 takes from one person.
Oh, if you're setting 50 takes from one person, then you're not getting the gig anyhow.
No.
I mean, you should never send any more than 3 takes unless they ask for it. And 3 takes is only if they're small, choppy lines. Right. If there's any kind of dialogue, 2 takes max to show some range. But even then, on that note, you don't know what it is. I have a friend of mine, and if he listens, he may get mad, but I deal with it. It's not the first person or the last person I'll probably piss off today. He has one of these great booming voices. He talks like this normally. Jim, this is great, man. I love hanging out and doing all this VO stuff. Uncle Roy's was a lot of fun. And then he'll get his script. And the script, we're going to say, is for Amazon again. And in his mind, he's talking to a bunch of people. So his managerial voice now becomes this. And he takes his voice and it sounds so put on. I'm like, dude, talk to me. And he's doing that more lately. And it's working a lot better for him. And it'll work a lot better for you too. Don't try to think of a voice that it should be. There is no middle management in an ice cream store talking to 3 employees voice.
Yeah. That's the best way to put it too.
But in our minds, we're all trying to figure out, because that's the specs we get. It's an ice cream store. He's a manager talking to 3 teenagers. In our mind, we're like, well, this guy has a certain sound. No, he doesn't. This guy could be Richie. This guy could be Jim. This guy could be Law. This guy could be Jerry, could be Terry, could be Mike, could be JMC. If he gets, if he screws things up and has to go work at Carvel, who knows? But nobody knows until the person hiring hears it.
Right.
So why beat yourself up?
Yeah. Just
get in there, get out. Yep. Yes, we're going to evacuate. I obviously thought of that because of how smart I am. Take 1, take 2. Yes, we're going to evacuate. I obviously thought about it, but because of how smart I am. Send it, forget it. Walk away, done. There's nothing else you can do. Why take 4 hours or even 2 hours or 40 minutes or even a half hour to do, a 45 seconds audition? Yeah.
Like 100%. Like why stress over it when it's like when you can simplify it. And that was just me.
That was me being, kind of hyper me, and that was me being like, just forget about it, me. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. It's all different versions of you, but always be you.
Exactly. And that was the one thing I had to learn for commercial, especially because I was and I tell people this story all the time, because what happened was I was trying to get into commercial reads. I was like, all right, maybe I should probably get in commercial reads. That's what you need, obviously, to apply to an agency and like that. So I went through them, and then one of my relatives were visiting. Said, "Here, listen to this." They looked at me and they said, "This sounds like." Are you telling me you went to acting school for this many years and this is the best you came up with? And I was like, I really need some training. And when I did get that training, it was like, just be authentic. You don't have to try so hard. And it just changed immediately from like, I'm trying to be Mr. Ice Cream guy here, and then it's like, I'm just buying ice cream. Can you just like give me my ice cream?
Don't be Mr. Ice Cream guy. Be Richie as the ice cream guy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. When you act, make your bold decisions on your acting choices. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to animation, and especially animation, I was taught this, I think it was either Kristen Piver or Donna Grillo. Somebody's like, make your acting choice, then the voice. if I'm reading this side here happens to be right in front of me. The concept is the Gopher King. He's a big, blustery ruler of an underground gopher city. He's gigantic, super smart, intelligent for a gopher. He is really, really smart, but he has insecurity, so he gets easily flustered or excited. So I have already decided what this voice needs to sound like in my mind. I just did a workshop last night with Richard Horvitz.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I didn't realize all of his credits. And he's like, no, he's like, read it first, then read the sides. Go through it first. Go through it as you first. Because everybody is going to give them, who dares trespass in the kingdom of the Gopher King? I mean, I told you to make a spear. I told one of you it was a Tuesday, as opposed to me just going into it going, who dares trespass in the kingdom of the Gopher King? What the? I made a spare set. I told you. It was a Tuesday, wasn't it? That's just me doing it, And then go back and read the specs and then make that first read your second take. You give them, if you give them exactly what everybody else has given them, then it's just going to be next. Even though your third and fourth line may be phenomenal and maybe something that just blows everybody away, they're never going to hear it. So, I don't know how we got here. I really don't. But, just be authentic. Be authentic you. Make your bold choices. Make the voices afterwards. And stop trying to be everything to everybody.
Exactly.
Be you to you. That's all.
Exactly. And especially nowadays with more people wanting to get into the voice acting, because I see it all the time. I'm in my 20s right now. I'm about to be 30. And I see newer voice actors who are around my age, who grew up around time like the 90s and things. They're like, oh, yeah, I want to be an animator. It's like, okay, cool. Then you see them read. It's like, it's the same mistake. Trying just focusing on one thing when it's like you got
focusing on sounding anime.
There you go, right there.
What is that?
What the hell is that?
What is that? What the hell is that? I mean, yeah,
exactly. It's just sounding like it, and it's not coming across with the acting chops. Versus you see other people who are already doing this. They don't sound like it. That just came with the ability. With when they're like, okay, this is my acting choices. This is where I'm at. Then go, and it just go from there.
And that's what gets you the job. The acting choices you make will, and the emotion that you emote will, if done correctly, is, emoted across or transposed or, seeping from your audition, whatever the case may be. And that's what's going to get you the job. For instance, I may not have that anime type of delivery, but they may like my acting choices and they say, okay, let's work with them and see what happens. And you can be taught certain pacing and certain tempos and inflections and things. That's a whole different skill set. I highly recommend to newbies, get the education. Don't worry about your demos. Don't worry about booking. Don't worry about spending all kinds of money unless it's on education. Training. I have 4 guitars. I know about 7 chords. I am not a guitar player. I'm a strummer. I can hold my own at a campfire with, another guy playing guitar and he's on lead. I'm not going to go out and buy that, $10,000 Strat until I'm at least, Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page. These are all probably too old references for half the people listening, but these guys are really good guitar players.
Oh, they're legends.
Eddie Van Halen, how's that? That's one a little bit more current. Just because I have a souped up sports car doesn't make me a race car driver.
Right.
So the fact that you have a kick-ass studio, $1,000 microphone, you've invested, $5,000 to get 2 or 3 demos. It doesn't make you a voice actor. You have to be an actor first.
Yeah.
So get the training, get the acting, get the training for voiceover. Don't go to these places that are going to offer you, hey, after 8 weeks, we're going to give you some demos and you're going to get right to work, buddy.
Hell no.
No. This is acting, people. Okay. I came in here with blind ambition. Now, I've been a radio disc jockey for 25 years. I've recorded thousands of commercials. I was production director of a 6 radio station cluster for a decade. I've done thousands of commercials. This is no brainer. Man, what an eye opener that was.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute eye opener that was. And now I'm actually reverting back to that DJ delivery because I'm working on automotive third tier.
Okay.
Where everything is like, come on down to Dodge. You're gonna get you hooked up at 2.9 financing. You know, all that crap that they beat out of you when you're trying to learn to be a voice actor. The one place you can use that is third tier automotive or anything that has to do with oil. You know, Irwin Marine, get your Yamaha sport boat today. You know, it's all that hype. It's all that sales. But yeah, get the acting. Invest in a cheap microphone. You know, people say don't get a USB mic. You can't do voiceover on a USB mic. That's bullshit. You can. You're not going to do great voiceover work. It's not going to be the best sound in the world, but it's going to get you where you need to be. And wouldn't you rather get to where you need to be for $40 than $400 or $1,000?
1K. Newman costs like $1K actually.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're looking at $2,200 worth of mics right there.
Yep,
that's the TLM 103 and that's the Sennheiser 416 industry standards. Did I need to go out and buy those? No, I had the TLM 103 that I had. But I went and got this one because I got to the point in my career where I wanted to do more video games. I wanted to do more shouting, more. It's just a great mic for that.
Right.
You have this little focus area, so I can get really intense here, and I can come back here and give a shout and a scream. You know, I do that with my TLM, and this thing's so sensitive that it hears the cockroaches having sex in the wall. So, I mean, that's pretty much exactly what it is. It's a place to hang my headphones and my hat usually.
Right.
You know, but yeah, don't spend that kind of money. I just picked up a Bumblebee 3.
Yes, I've heard of it.
Okay, there was a big sale, normally $99, but I got it for $39. I took it to Uncle Roy's. I set it up, did a few auditions with it. I asked my agent, "What do you think about that?" He goes, "Sounds the same to me." Yep. Sounds the same to you. $40 microphone plugged directly into my laptop, as opposed to $1,000 mic going into a $1,000 UA Apollo Twin interface that has $300 or $400 worth of preamps in it that I paid somebody $200 or $300 to set up. Has the same sound as this $40 plug-in USB microphone to my agent. Okay? So until you get to the point where you're screaming into your microphone or you get to the point where you are making money and you need to up your standards, save your money.
Yeah.
Don't buy that Strat. Buy that $200 guitar from the yard sale next door, you know, whatever.
Yeah. Definitely. Uncle Roy, speaking of him, because we've been mentioning him because he's just been great. I think during 2022 or 21, I had got the money to buy a Newman, and I was sitting there just like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna buy this mic, and then I was like, maybe I should get a reference first. So I asked Uncle Roy, and he said, you could do that, or you could buy this mic here, which I'm currently using still, Stellar X2, for like fraction of that price.
Yeah.
And it paid off completely. I was like, oh wow, it does everything I need it to do, and it's not too sensitive.
Yep. Do not be. The TLM is very sensitive. I only use that for really, really warm, sincere type of reads that I know that it's going to pick up every. Because I want it to. You know, I want it to hear the emotion that I'm saying. You know, it's just, here I am, and yeah, just all alone, and I want it to hear all the before and after the you know. But even then, it's a skill set that you have to learn how to talk into those microphones. You know, so until then, that microphone you have is a beautiful mic. You could do your whole career on that microphone, but then there's the FOMO. Then there's the, I really want to have that. I got to have that. I mean, I've always been a techie guy when it comes to audio tech. I mean, I've been in radio for so many years. I've got my junior engineer badge because as program director, you need to be able to put the station back on the air when something breaks if your engineer's in a different state. Because a lot of times they are in different states. So that fear of not having the best equipment is my biggest curse. It really is. I kicked myself in the ass this past weekend when I plugged that thing in and went, really? 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 I have there's a product out there called Mic Hero. It's a little interface. It's the size of a pack of cigarettes, but only about I don't know, 3/4 inch thick.
Right.
And it's an interface. It's a portable interface. I have my portable setup. It's all in a little box now, nice and easy. $200. I set that thing up in my studio with this microphone, and I recorded the exact same thing. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. And everywhere that Mary went, that lamb was sure to go. And I recorded that the exact same way on this microphone using two different interfaces into the same computer. I played it for friends of mine. Nobody was willing to bet that they knew exactly which one it was. They said, number 2. No, number 1. Well, which one is it? It's number 2.
Mm-hmm.
You're willing to bet me $20? Number 1. No, forget the bet. Which one is it? Yeah, exactly. I mean, so don't get caught into the whole, I have to have that stuff. I'm very fortunate, and I hate saying this, but I love to be able to say this. My wife is very successful in the pharmaceutical business.
Nice.
She's like a data scientist. I don't even know what the hell she does, to be honest with you. All I know is that the money comes home. And so I'm able to do this business at this point in my life a little differently than a lot of people. I don't have to hunt to eat, which is nice.
Right.
I think J. Michael Collins called me the, what did he call me? He goes, you're the VO Sniper. I'm like, explain. He said, well, you see something, you want that, and you'll focus on it, and you'll wait, and you'll wait, and you'll wait, and then you'll shoot it, and you'll nail it. As opposed to having to panic and get something done because I have to feed my family, or I have to, pay rent next month,
Right.
or I'm working 8 hours after my full-time job, I try to incorporate everything I do into my current life. So VO worked very nicely, which actually brings me to another point. If you don't mind, we can talk some website stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Not sure how long we have here together, but I'm going to need about 5 or 6 more hours, if that's okay with you.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So being part of radio, and being a multi-hat wearing person in radio, especially as radio stations changed over the past 20 years. When I first got hired, I was an afternoon jock. When I left the same station or cluster of stations, I was program director, I was promotions director, I was production director, I was morning show guy, I was voice tracking for 6 other radio stations, still getting paid the same amount of money I was getting paid 20 years ago just to be an afternoon jock because radio sucks. Anyhow, we all had side gigs. I did stand-up comedy. I had a website for it. Mobile DJ. Live announcer. Radio guys always had, or radio gals always have side gigs. So I was always webmaster of the radio stations too. I'd create the graphics for like Ski for Free Weekend, or Open Ticket Box Tuesday. The stuff that you see on the web. I design all that for these stations. So I started designing websites through Wix, which back then Wix is nothing like it is now. But friends of mine asked me to start doing it for them as well. And I got pretty good at it. Fast forward to voiceover, and I'm like looking around what it costs to have a website made. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to pay that money. I can do it myself on Wix. And I did. And then I did a friend's. Then a friend asked me to do another one. And then that person had a friend that asked me. And all of a sudden, my inner circle of friends, I've done all their websites for. And now friends of a friend and friends of a friend and they're all starting to line up. So I said, I've got to do something. A, I can't keep doing this for free. B, I don't want these guys to come back to me 6 months from now and say, hey, can you, put this in there, and can you change this, and can you add my new demos, and I changed my bio. No, I'm a voice actor. I don't want to be that guy. So what I try to do is I came up with this, what am I calling it? 3-hour website creation class. And basically I teach people how to create, update, and expand their VO specific website. I don't do photographers or, it's VO specific. We create a 1-page VO specific website. I've talked to a lot of people. I've told you I'm not afraid to talk to anybody, and not just voice actors, but more importantly, I'm friends with a lot of agents, casting directors. I mean, agents that won't represent me because I'm not ready to be at that level. But I have friends that are, working with some of the big ones out in LA and in New York as well. And I ask them, what are you looking for? When you go to a website to vet a talent, when you're a casting director looking at somebody's work, what do you like to see? What don't you like to see? Or what makes you go, I'm just going to move on. This isn't worth it. And it all comes down to laziness. So if any of my agent friends are listening out there, I'm not talking about you because you guys are all stellar people and want to hire me and represent me later on in life. But yeah, they're all lazy. They really are, but they're busy. So they have a right to be lazy when it comes to stuff like this. They don't want to go to your website and have to say, click here for demos. Okay. Now, scroll down. There they are. Oh, look, it's on SoundCloud. Let me click that. Over the SoundCloud it goes. Okay. Well, all right. So I've been through all this hassle, and the Jim Fronk is really, really good. So we want to hire him, but I want my buddy over in, animation to hear. Where's the download button? I'm not going to send. You know what? There's 100 Jim Fronks, and they move on. So I compiled a list of the must-haves for a website, voiceover specific website. More importantly, the must-haves for what you see above the fold. Above the fold, if people don't know, is an old term when it comes to newspapers. Newspapers would come folded in half, not so much the tabloids they are now, but they were like long sheets folded in half. And you would look at the front page above the fold. That top half of that page above the fold. When they get to your website, above the fold is everything they can see without having to scroll. That's above the fold. You want to have everything possible that they need right there. Everything else on your website is fluff. Everything else is, okay, well, let's read his bio. Let's check out some of his other work. Let's check out some photos. That's pleasure stuff. That's I'm going there. I want demos. I want to know how to get a hold of you. I want to see a little personality. I want to know about your social media, phone number, email, whatever the case. Do you have Source Connect? Are you a member of Nava? Are you a member of Wovo or, any of these organizations? All that stuff. This should be a business card right there for nothing else. I've got probably 15 pages on my website, and that's just because I do websites. And, I started creating one for each genre. I had somebody write up all the SEO for it. Nah. I mean, it's good when you get to a higher level and you're getting sought out through SEO, but you can be very effective with your SEO as well. Without having to have numerous pages.
Right.
And there can't be any duplicates. You can't cut and paste. Why hire Jim on my commercial page is a different paragraph or two of why I hired Jim on my video game page, because Google hates cut and paste. So there's all kinds of things, there's all little things to learn. But what I try to do is I try to teach you, and it takes 3 hours, sometimes 2, sometimes 4, sometimes a couple weeks, depending on who the people are. But we go in there and we build your website together. You're watching on a screen. You have two screens, two monitor screens. One, you're watching me on Zoom or Google Meetup or whatever the case is. You're watching me build your website for you. And while you're doing that, you're building your website along with me on a different, on your own computer. So you're watching me build a site, then you're replicating, duplicating my actions, my motions. You're seeing where to find stuff. You know, I relate it to driving a car. Anybody can drive a car if you know how, but every car is different, whether it's a small electric car or a big box van. You know, the gas is still the gas, the brake is still the brake. Your blinker might be on the left or the right. Your headlights might be a knob you pull, might be a thing you twist, might be a button you push. You have to get familiar with that brand, that model. It's the same thing with audio players and recorders, DAW systems. You know, that little triangle is always play. You know, the round is always record. The square is always stop. I mean, that's all basic stuff. It's the same thing with websites. But you have to know where it is and how to maneuver through certain things. So by doing it, by feeling it, by touching it, you gain that muscle memory of doing things. I could sit in the front seat of the car and drive to the same place 2 or 3 times. Ride to the same place 2 or 3 times and not really know what the directions are because I'm not really paying attention. But if I'm driving, and even if I'm driving and singing and talking and not paying attention, I'm going to remember how to get to that place the next time because I'm doing it. So at the end of the 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever the case is, I throw away the website that I made. Off it goes. And then I log into your website with you and I tweak with you.
Right.
I don't twerk with you. Well, some people,
big difference, people.
Yeah, big difference. That A to an R is huge. But you know, I'll go in there and I'll tighten things up. You know, and they'll watch me. And if they don't want me to do it, I won't. I'm not going to force my creative designs on you because it's your creativity. It's your design. I'm going to give you my professional opinion. I'm going to give you what I think looks good. I think symmetry. I think this. I think colors. My mind works in many different crazy ways. And then you're done. We go through the whole, you know, getting you up and running. If you already have a domain name, we already, you know, we work at putting it together and we work to a point where you are set, ready to go. It may take a couple of days afterwards to get the sale with Wix or to, for it to populate. Sometimes it takes 24 to 48 hours for things. If you already had an existing site to populate to the new site. But whatever the case is, we get you done soup to nuts. And then 3 months down the road, 4 months down the road, if you need to put something up, you want to update something, you at least know how to go in there and look, and you're not afraid to try. There's so many fail safes that even if you screw everything up, I can go in there and hit a button and take you back to day 1, day 7, day 23, day 23 at 2 o'clock in 20 minutes, day 23 at 3:52, day 23 at 4:18. Depending, because it's things save automatically. There's all these time machine places to go back to, so you can't really F it up that bad that I can't fix it.
Right.
And as long as my prices are very reasonable. I'm going to throw some price out there. I will teach you for $250.
That's good.
$250. You'll learn how to take control of your online presence. I say get your online in line. It's some stupid cheesy thing I came up with, but you know, for $600, I'll build your one-page website for you. I'll build it with the colors you want, the font you decide on, the pictures and things that you give me to use, and I will design it, and it will be my design, my creativity, a little bit of revisions here and there. But then 2 months down the road, when you want to add your demos, I'm going to charge you $100 an hour, 2-hour minimum. And the only reason why I do that is not to be mean or greedy. It's because I don't want to do the job. I don't want to be that guy. I would rather make less money, spend more time, and teach you how to take care of this yourself. So you're not paying somebody all kinds of crazy money to do something that you can do. It's just you don't have the knowledge, and the knowledge is not that difficult to is ascertain the word I'm looking for?
Think so, yeah.
Absorb, to understand. I mean, it's It's elementary school math is really what it comes down to. We're not talking about calculus. We're not talking about x equals y. We're talking 2 + 2 = 4. All right. But if you don't know that 2 + 2 = 4, or where to find the 2 and the other 2 and the equal sign to make the 4, that's where it seems like calculus. That's where it seems like it's too much. It's overbearing. I can't do this. This is impossible. This is online web building shit. Are you kidding me? Nah. If you can make a Word document and put a photo in that Word document, you can build a website.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. And if you don't know how to put a photo into the document, guess who's going to teach you in about 30 seconds? I mean, it's, I'm not saying that what I teach is simple and easy. Anything is simple and easy when you know how to do it. For me, it's simple and easy. For you, it might be simple, but not easy. For you, it might be kind of easy, but that wasn't really that simple. So until you learn, you just don't know. And that's the point I was getting at. If you spend the time to learn, I'd rather take 2-3 times as much time for half or a third the money to teach you how to do it, so that when it comes time for you to redo it, you at least try it. And if you get stuck, I'm there as a friend to help you. I'm not there as a pay me to help you. I'm there as to say, oh, you just have to do this. Remember? Click. Or go back to the video that we recorded, because when we build these, I record the videos and send you a video of it. So, and then don't bother me. Let's be friends, but don't ask me to fix your website unless you really can't do it.
Right.
Don't ask me to maintain your website. Ask me to fix it. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
That makes 100% sense, because.
All right. So when should I sign you up? No, I'm just
kidding. We'll likely talk about this, because I'm like, okay, I need a website and things, but I was like thinking the same thing. I was like, this is algebraic math and stuff. And then it's like you said, you simplify it, and you essentially, or like you said earlier in the interview, you teach people how to fish. So they're not just eating the fish, they're catching their own stuff.
Yeah, and they're showing other people, and they're coming up with their own ideas, and they're like, well, wait a minute, if he could make that thing spin like this, wouldn't it be cool if I could make this thing spin like that? Well, yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Of course it would. You know what we're going to do for you and your listeners? We are going to make up a coupon code right now.
Okay. People listen.
And we're going to offer a 20% off coupon. What? Yeah, 20% off, yeah.
There we go. Thank you, Jim.
So what's normally costing you $250 is going to cost you $200.
There you go. You heard that, people.
Why don't you tell me what you want the coupon code to be?
Let's see.
Something simple?
Yeah, something simple. RXD. Yeah, RXD.
RXD20.
Yep.
RXD20 is a discount code of, I'm making this right even as we talk right now. So we're going to do this on the 3-hour website creation class. I'm not giving a discount for me building your site, because I don't want to build your site.
There you go.
I want you to build your site. Apply to each item and create. Why would I limit this use? Not at all. Okay, good. There it is, RXD20. It is live. It is up and running even as we speak. So if any of your listeners, you, friends, whatever the case is, pass that code on. Once again, I'm not in this to make money. I'm in this to make my wife happy by making a little money, but also just to get people to take care of their own online presence.
Yep. Happy wife, happy life.
Well, yeah. I mean, it gets to a point where she says, listen, you've been doing this for 2 years now for free for people. I'm like, all right, whatever. Let's see what I can do, baby. Okay. I mean, she is my CFO, so I mean, got to keep her happy.
Yep, there you go. So we covered a lot of great things here. There is one thing I do want to cover before we wrap up, and it's since you mentioned Nava AI.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff. What are we seeing in AI? Because everything we just covered, seriously, people, listen. Because everything we just covered, you're going to see right now in the current space for voiceover, including because Nava's been working really hard with AI.
Tim Freelander, thank you so much, Tim,
Thank
for
you,
everything
Tim.
you do. And Karen, of course.
Yep, they've been very active on this, especially with the strikes going on. From what I understand, there is no video game strike currently, but is it possible? It's very possible.
It depends when this airs.
Yeah,
I suppose because
true.
as we're recording this, there is talk of video games being struck. So
Yeah.
AI. I'll give you my take on AI. I don't know if you can see this. I have a little sticker here that I got from Liz Atherton.
Right.
Hashtag hire human. AI for me is authentic intelligence, not artificial intelligence.
Yep.
AI cannot have, I mean, yes, it can sound sad, but it's not emoting sadness.
Right.
As an actor, we can emote sadness. AI cannot say, the director can't say, give it to me a little bit louder at the beginning. And when you say the word business, I want you to, I know it's either business or business. I want I want to hear that middle syllable. So I want business. You're not going to get that from AI.
No.
AI is not going to be able to change on the fly. Will AI take some of the lower hanging fruit? Absolutely. Will AI, I mean, as a joke, and kind of a drunken bet, I bet a friend of mine that in 20 minutes I could give him a medical narration demo within 20 minutes to a half hour.
Right.
He said, no way. And he watched me. I went to ChatGPT. I asked him to write me a 30-second e-learning on, ammonia or measles or, just anything. And we looked up some technical words, got it to spit out in about 3 minutes, 4 scripts. Took me about 2 minutes to edit those scripts down. And then I entered them, I copied and pasted, and I went to 11 labs, and I took their little free trial for 7 days. I put it in there. I put my voice samples in, spits it out. Sounds like me to a point now and then, but it did have a little bit of changing of my voice now and then, but it was okay for things when you're saying scapula and, osteoporosis, I mean, it worked. And I went and I just grabbed some royalty-free music, which I have because I have Adobe stock, whatever. And within, I think it was 26 minutes, I called him back and I played him the demo. He said, "Dude, you could send that." I said, "I know I could. I won't, but I could."
Right.
Because it doesn't reflect who I am.
Right.
AI is going to take some e-learning. AI is maybe not e-learning, but corporate narration.
Right.
E-learning, you still need to have some humanism to it. But it's not going to take video games. It's not going to take commercials. It's not going to take animation. It may take some of the lower hanging fruit. It may take, IVR or telephony, as for people that don't know what that is, voice record, answering systems. It may take, most of the answering systems I listen to now are all the old auto. Thank you for calling Wix. Press 1 for customer service. It's going to take that. Let it have it. Have at it. AI is not going anywhere. There's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
It's going to be here. We might as well embrace what we can with it, fight what we can against it, and be authentic. It comes right back down to it. Be your own authentic you.
Right. And
if you get to the point that you are, why can't I think of the guy's name? Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Earl Jones. James Earl Jones.
Right.
If you become James Earl Jones and somebody wants to pay you, $10 million to have you give your voice samples to clone your voice to be Darth Vader for the end of time, I'm not going to fault you for it. But if you're a company looking to save a couple $100 and you're willing to give in on the quality, the humanism of the performance, then I don't want to work with you.
There you go.
And I mean, maybe I'm in a different situation than a lot of people where I can have that luxury where I can say I'm not going to work with you. But I saw something. I saw it on TikTok. It was like 2 days ago,
Right.
and I forget who it was. Damn, I wish I knew who it was. It's somebody that we all probably know. Um, and he said, people ask me about AI, and I don't like it. I know it's here. I know we have to embrace it. I know we have to do what we can with it. But I never thought that I would be turning down $6, $7, $8,000 jobs because of the potential of AI use in the wording
Right.
of the contracts.
Yeah.
He's turned away $24,000 worth of work in like a 2-week span because of the wording.
Yeah, in perpetuity, it's like, hey, do this. We'll pay you 24, and we're gonna keep your voice for the end of time.
The guy who you've heard of the Rolling Stones, obviously, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay, you seen their logo with the big lips?
Yep.
Guy that did that got paid $35.
Wow.
That's what he wanted to sell it for. There was no contract. I mean, granted, should they have kicked him back at least a car or something? I would hope so. But I mean, he got paid $35, and that's all he's entitled to because that's what the contract was. We spoke about Nava. Nava has their addendums to contracts. If you don't have an agent and you're doing this alone, if you do have an agent, sometimes you're still doing it alone. Make sure that you have spoken to Tim, have taken their contract riders and integrate them into your own contracts. There's a lot of out there, and I've seen people worded as just for ease of explaining, I'm going to say in perpetuity, but it's only going to be used on the company website.
Some is what that is.
Maybe that's all it is. Maybe this guy is a nobody that knows what he needs to write and doesn't want to spend the time. And maybe he's just saying, maybe he's right, but don't ever take that chance. Don't ever. Would you buy a car and sign it or lease a car and sign it without knowing what's on that piece of paper?
Hell no.
Would you buy a house not knowing, not getting an inspection done no, you wouldn't. I mean, think about it like that. I mean, a lot of people are like, it's $2,500. If it comes back and bits me in the ass in 2 or 3 years, whatever, I need the cash now. And I get that. Sometimes you have to, make decisions and do things you don't want to do, or go against your scruples and morals and just what you believe in. But if you can stand tough because we are going to win this war at one point. Let me rephrase that. At one point, we're going to be comfortable in this war. At one point, the battle lines are going to be defined. The guidelines will be drawn. Not saying that you'll be happy with the decisions, but at that point, that's when you decide what you want to do with your own life, and that's your own decision. But there are going to be guidelines. As fast as AI is developing, I think even faster creative humans are finding ways to combat it. And that's not just me. That's not just us. I don't use I use ChatGPT for certain things. I think AI has a place in voiceover, but I think AI has a place in voiceover as the instrument that says, okay, well, I need neighborly sounding, confident, conversational, a bit rough around the edges, maybe kind of sarcastic voice. I'm looking for a male between the ages of 30 and 35, any ethnicity. AI could be used greatly for something like that. And that's what filters are for the most part, is AI. But there are ways to use AI even more so to benefit the artist as opposed to combat the artist and fight the artist. I go to ChatGPT and sometimes I will ask for a list of things, or I'll ask, what is blah, blah, blah. And it'll tell me what blah, blah, blah is. And if I need to use that somewhere, I'll rewrite it in my own words. but now at least it's to me, it's like asking the dictionary, what's the definition of this? But there are people that are selling books and making money on Amazon and other places very easily with AI writing all the content. And they're writing things like, tell me a short story about a guy, a beer, and his love for cars in the style of John Grisham. That's where it's getting it's screwing over the artist that way, because it's actually taking John Grisham's thoughts, creativity, style, and all that, and then throwing out a piece of creative in the style of John Grisham, which is a slap in the face to him.
Agreed.
So the way I think about it, use AI as if it were a dictionary, or if you're looking something up on the internet, but don't use it to create.
Yeah.
If you use it to create, then you deserve to have a job taken from you by AI for your creativity.
I agreed, because essentially,
Karma's a bitch.
yeah, as by definition, when we use AI when AI is used for information, just looking up information like, hey, where I find this recipe for ramen, it's gonna pull from already existing stuff, which means for where the problem becomes is for creativity, it's gonna pull from already existing things that have been input into it, which, because it's creative, it's being stolen at that point.
True, but it's also out there as public domain.
That too.
But when you say something like, write me a short play in the style of Shakespeare, you know, write me a song about margaritas and motorcycles in the style of Jimmy Buffett. That's the stuff that people are doing.
Right.
And there's actually programs and AI out there that are spitting out the songs, not just the lyrics, but are spitting out produced songs, which, and people are selling that. And that's just, I mean, we've had AI forever. Set an appointment for tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thank you, AI. I just talked to my phone. That was artificial intelligence going to my computer, going to my calendar, and putting a appointment in there across all my platforms that I have attached to it. I'm not saying, decide on an appointment for me where I can make all kinds of money. I mean, I'm not asking it to create. I think that's what it comes down to. And we could talk circles around AI and about AI forever. My number one thing is, make your decision, either pro or con, stick to it. If you're against AI, make sure you safeguard yourself. If you're pro AI, look out, because I'm coming for you. No, I mean, once again, embrace it and deal with the consequences if there are any. That's all. It's kind of like Fiverr, and I don't mean to insult anybody, because there's a lot of people out there making some decent money on Fiverr doing VO. But to me, that's like picking the low-hanging fruit. That's racing to the bottom. I mean, I don't want to do 75 commercials to make, $300.
Right.
But I think AI is the new Fiverr, even though it's been around forever. But people are definitely, I think it's going to be mask or no mask at some point. That whole controversy that we had back with COVID, either you were for masks or against masks for some reason or another, or pro-vaccination, anti-vaccination.
Right.
I think AI is going to come down in the creative world to draw some bitter battle lines, which I hope it doesn't, but I really see it going that way, because there are some people that you wouldn't think would be pro AI that I know that are, but they're also using it to their advantage to protect their own self against AI.
Right.
They're embracing AI within their voice, as opposed to having their voice taken from somebody else through AI. So, I mean, in one way you can be proactive about it, but I don't think I'm at that level of my career. I could probably count on one hand, maybe two hands, the people that I know personally that are at that point of their career, and I could probably count on maybe only two hands, maybe my feet. If I have to go to 21, I'll take my pants off. But I told you, it's math. That are up there. Those. I'm going to say Dave Fenoy, but I know Dave's not into it. But like Pat Fraley, Bob Bergen. These guys may or may not be for it. Joe Cipriano, JMC. I know JMC is completely against it, so I'm sorry I even said that. He has on his website a disclaimer saying that you will never hear my voice reproduced in any other way except coming out of my mouth or something to that effect. He is very authentic him, which I applaud. But there are people that I know that are starting to branch out and try to get ahead of it. And I don't know if it's going to burn them in the end.
It's definitely a big topic of conversation and things, but it's definitely good to be informed. So thanks for definitely letting people know, like, this is what we're looking at.
And once again, that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody has their opinions. Yeah. I'm not the end all be all for any information at all. This is just what I've seen and what I've heard, and I hope everybody does what makes them happy and makes them able to sleep at night and wake up the next day and feel like they're being productive.
Yep, there we go. So, as we wrap things up, and again, thank you for doing
We've been saying that for like 45 minutes now.
It's like, as we wrap things up, no.
Here we are in our marathon, hour number 35. We only have $2 more thousand to raise, people. Come on.
There we go. Where can people find you?
Oh, usually, I mean, if you're a good-looking female, usually outside your bedroom window at 4 a.m., and I do work different time zones. No, you can find me online for voice work at jimfronk.com, JIMFRONK. It's spelled just like Frank, but with an O. Jimfronk.com. And if you want to, and all the socials are all Jim Fronk. And if you want to talk websites, you can go to Websites for VO. It's all words. I couldn't get the number 4. I'm still working on that. But websites, WEBSITES, for FOR VO. And I picked that because people say, what do you do? Well, I do websites for VO, .com. And you can set up a 15-minute consultation free. We'll talk on Zoom or on the phone and talk about what your needs are, what your thoughts are. And we'll just move forward from there. You want to work with me? Great. You don't? That's just more time for me to drink, I guess. I don't know.
There we go.
It's all good.
And don't forget, people, Jim was very nice enough to offer a promo code in the form of RXD20.
RXD. So that's what? That's Romeo X-Ray Delta 20.
Yep.
So yeah, and if for some chance you go to the website, the promo code is at the end, at the checkout. Don't panic. If you put the promo code in and you hit apply and it doesn't take the 20% off, don't hit book, don't hit buy, hit the email and send me an email and say, hey, what's going on? And I'll fix it for you.
Yep, sounds good. So again, Jim, thank you. This has been awesome talking to you. It's been awesome talking to you and stuff, and a lot of fun too.
I'm a hell of a guy.
There you go.
All right, so what we're going to talk about for the next 4 hours?
We're going to talk about So, anyways, we have 4 hours left, people. We were just kidding about that. No.
All right, so we're going to take a 3-minute break.
Yes.
Go hit the head. You guys do what you got to do. Gather the family around. Richie, this has been a blast, man. My friends, my VO friends, laugh because I command conversations constantly, and they're going to listen to this and they're going to say, yep, there he goes again. Can't shut that guy up. But you know what? We're in the business of talk.
Yep. So, we are in the business of talk. And
I enjoy it.
And this interview really was just about you and what it is you've learned. And
so why are you even here, man?
I'm here to manage tech. I had a whole bunch of questions up that I didn't even use. No.
I could have just hit record on my player and sent you a tape. We would have been fine.
There we go.
Richie, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate being here.
No problem.
And I'd love to come back anytime.
Definitely. Once again, people, if you're looking for Jim, you can find all of his links in the description below, and we'll see you guys around.